Hi, my name is Deborah and welcome to the Edit by DH. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to be all about the new Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. The packaging is also nude, so you know what you're getting with your palette. This is what the inside looks like, and it has been used because I did swatch it for you guys, but I will pop a picture of it looking brand new, spanking fresh on the screen, just to say as well, my swatches or anything that I show you picture wise that I've done, it doesn't contain any filters, so it's just all taken in natural sunlight. So the picture is when it was brand new. This is what it looks like, again in natural light, but where I've just used it, and so you can see some of my fingerprint smudges. And instead of doing swatches for you live, should I say, I decided again it'll probably be better for you guys and more detailed if I just pop the swatches on the screen from where I've pre-swatched it for you, and line by line, just so that it's easier. But before that, let me just give you a bit more information. So Natasha Denona, you guys may not know, she is famously known for her eyeshadows, and she has many palettes, many of these sizes, which is 15 eyeshadows, but also she does like mini palettes as well. So like I said, this is her latest eyeshadow launch, and it is £67 for 15 shades. On her website, it says, introducing the I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette, a cool toned colour story featuring 15 new enchanting muted, rosy and nude shades. Alongside Natasha's iconic formulas, the I Need a Nude palette debuts a brand new wet effect, sparkling and glossy finish formula, illuminating any eyeshadow look with an ethereal touch of glistening sparkle. Natasha's pro-level user-friendly formulas are seamlessly blendable, delivering vibrant, ultra-pigmented results. This midi-sized palette features 2 high-shine metallic, 7 buttery soft matte, and 3 captivating sparkling foiled finishes, complemented by 3 eyeshadows in the new Wet Effect formula with sparkling and glossy finishes. What benefits does this eyeshadow have? They're mineral oil free, paraben free, cruelty free, and it's made in Italy. Then on the website, you'll find lots of like how-tos and ideas and inspirations on different eye looks that you can create with this palette. But I'm now going to show you the swatches on the screen. So I'll go line by line, starting with the top line here. So top line, Stone is a matte, light, medium, warm taupe. Whisper is a metallic light nude pink. Ella is a sparkling foiled warm fawn. Vague is a matte medium warm dusty rose. Travertine is a metallic soft amber. Then the middle line, which I just called mid, starts with Delilah, which is a sparkling wet effect silver brown. Silhouette, a matte coffee bean brown. Muse, sparkling foiled champagne. Fair, matte light misty rose, and Filigree, sparkling foiled medium neutral brown. Last but not least, the bottom line starts with Wit, which is a matte to light warm rose. Sheen, which is a glossy wet effect warm champagne. Tender, which is a matte medium taupe. Mesh, which is a matte light dusty rose, and Mia, which is a sparkling wet effect icy pink. So those are all 15 shades. So it says that this was inspired by minimalist stone architecture. These cool nude shades are set in a sleek 3D plexiglass case, so that's what it is, especially designed by Natasha herself. Motivated by the I Need a New Lip collection, Natasha had to create the complementing eyeshadow palette and perfect nudes, resulting in this palette that effortlessly creates soft and natural yet glamorous looks. So before I tell you what my thoughts are on it, I decided to just do a little eye look with it. I'm going to go in with a mix of Mesh and Tender, these two kind of matte shades. I'm not going anywhere today, so a smoky eye is fine. Then I'm going to go in with some Silhouette on the outer edges just to give a better depth. Then I'm going to go in with 𝕬𝕐 with my finger, just because it's more of a shimmery colour, so I feel like it will be better with my finger. And I put a little bit of 𝕬𝕐 actually on my lower lashes as well, just to give it some depth and oomph, but it's not too dark a colour. Then I am loving this colour, 𝕬𝕬𝕓𝕤. I swatched it and I just fell in love with it. So 𝕬𝕬𝕓𝕤 I'm going to almost use as like a spotlight, again using my fingers. Then I'll use 𝕁 just as like my inner corner pop. I used Tender and Mesh as the base, so that's already 2. I used Silhouette for depth, so that's 3. I could have actually used Fair as my base as well. Then I used 𝕬𝕐 for my sort of like main colour, which is 4. And then I used 𝕬𝕬𝕓𝕤 for my spotlight, that's 5. And then I used 𝕁 as my like inner corner pop, so that's 6. I actually managed to use quite a lot of colours. Really, you can get so much out of this because there's so many variations and you can really play around with it. So before I give you my thoughts on this palette, I am just going to quickly complete my eye look with a bit of mascara. I'm just going in with the 𝕬𝕬𝕓𝕤 eyelash curler, which is my favourite. This is really obvious, but if you guys use an eyelash curler, please do clean it between uses, because when you get the residue from your like liner or mascara or whatever on the lash curler, the next time it becomes really sticky. So when you then try to use it, it could then like tug and pull out your lashes. So just as an FYI, in case you weren't aware. Then I'm going to go in with my current favourite mascara, which is the Lash Sensational Full Fan Effect by Maybelline. I'm loving this mascara. I used to use Maybelline mascaras and stopped for many years, and now I've gone back to it. This is not a Maybelline advert or video, but let me just show you the difference. So without, with lashes, without, with. So these are my natural lashes, and I just did a little bit on the bottom as well, so hopefully you can see a difference. Sorry, the English weather is bonkers, don't you think? Well, my British friends will agree. It's been bonkers lately. We haven't really had a summer, but it's been super humid, which is the worst when you don't even have a summer, but you have the humidity. It can't make up its mind. I feel like we're having 4 seasons in a day, typical English things. So that is the eye look complete. For your information, I will make sure that I link the 2 brushes that I used. I just went between the Katie Jane Hughes and Spectrum brush, and also a MAC brush that's like one of my fun favourites and has been for a long time for eyeshadow blending especially. So I'll include both of them down below, including the makeup that I'm wearing and I haven't mentioned in this video, where I film videos and then I forget about what I'm wearing. And then 5 months later, somebody watches the video and asks, obviously I just don't remember. If you're interested, everything is linked down below. So my thoughts on this palette. Firstly, I forgot to mention earlier, it has a mirror. And what I really like about it is that it opens fully like this, 180 degrees. Well, actually even further than that. But I love the fact that it opens fully, because some compacts, I feel like they only go like so far like that. But I feel like it's a bit awkward when you want to kind of get up close to the mirror. That's why when you can do this, completely flatten it and then get right up close, it's just easier. It means you don't need another mirror for it. Secondly, I know some people really like fallout is a deal breaker for them. This does have a little bit of fallout, but I think it also depends on how you're using the eyeshadow. So if you're sort of like dipping into the eyeshadow like this, even if you're doing it gently and you're just rubbing like this, there's inevitably going to be fallout. So if you want to minimize fallout, I would always recommend patting, because you can still get product on the brush by patting and then tapping off. for example. Trust me, you will still get fallout, but a lot less. If you use the glitter or foiled or shimmery formulas with a brush, there's going to be way more fallout and less pigment than using your finger. Something about using your finger with shimmers and glitters, they just adhere better to the eyelid. Even so, you are going to get some glittery fallout. So if you really don't like that, I would just always suggest doing your eye look first before your base. Another thing I wanted to point out, which you guys may or may not have noticed, is that I didn't use primer. Now, normally what I do is I don't use an eyeshadow primer. If I do, I'd probably recommend or go in with like the Nars eyeshadow primer, and they do come in different tones. I think it's like light, medium and deep or dark, I'm not sure. Normally what I tend to do is just sort of go in with a more nudie toned creamy eyeshadow that's close to my skin tone color, and I tend to use that as my primer and then layer the powders on top once it's completely dry. But sometimes I just like to use the powders by itself. So in this case, I haven't applied a primer to my lids, and I also kind of did that intentionally because I want to see how it lasts on my lids without a primer. And also my eyelids, just to explain, are slightly on the oilier side. They're not super oily, they're not an oil slick, but they are slightly on the oilier side. So I will check in with you later just to let you know how I got on with that in terms of longevity. But I did want to point out I'm not wearing a primer. I think in terms of shades, now this is something that was kind of, I don't know, it was a common theme. I think there were two camps for this palette. I think half the camp were very excited about a nude palette, saying yes, I need this in my life, it's gorgeous. I clearly fell into that camp. And then there's a second camp that were like, we've seen these shadows before, it's not that special, and people are a basic B who like this. But maybe I am a basic B. I think it's so versatile because you have a mixture of finishes. Firstly, you have matte, you have the shimmer, you've got the glitters, the foils, whatever. Secondly, you can easily take it from a day to night palette. And yes, we would all love to have that funky palette where it's like these beautiful pastel tones, or there's bright fun orange, fuchsia pinks, you know, sunflower yellows. But really, day to day, what palette are you going to reach for more? This type of palette, right? Some of you may take issue with the fact that there are just as many shimmery, foiled, glittery formulas and finishes as there are mattes. But personally, I don't mind wearing a shimmer during the day. I really don't. And I think you can make it work and make it look natural. But yeah, so very versatile. I like the fact that I could take this on holiday and have a variety of shades. I like the fact that you've got colours that are like a base, obviously depending on your natural skin tone. Colours that can work as a contour, colours that can work as a liner, colours that can work as a highlighter, potentially contour for the face if you're really desperate, and then like really work it up to a glamorous night look depending on what formula or finishes you are using. So for me personally, I feel like it's very versatile. Another comment that I saw online was about how cool toned it really is. That's really dependent on you. You've seen my swatches. I am apparently more of a cool toned person. At most I'd say I'm neutral rather than just golden or just pink. But apparently I'm a cool toned person. My arm and my hand is definitely a little bit more like warmer than my face. My face only looks warmer now because I've got like a little bit of bronzer slash contour on. When I did the swatches on my arm, that's my natural skin tone color. And as I said earlier, the swatches, they weren't filtered. So you can really see it up close. That's why I did like pictures instead of live swatches. So you can really see the colours and make up your own mind as to whether it is really or truly cool tone or whether it's cool toned enough for you. But again, please bear in mind, the colour will translate differently on different skin tones depending on, you know, who you are or what your undertones are, etc. I also love the fact, and this isn't exclusive to this palette, but I also love the fact that Natasha Denona palettes are customizable. So as you can see, there's all these holes right behind each eyeshadow palette. So all you need to do is just stick a pin in it, like a safety pin, the back of your earring, you know, those little pokey things for your phone, and it comes out super easily. It'll just pop out. So therefore, if you've got several of Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes, you can really mix and match to make sure that like you get your ideal or perfect palette. Some of you might be like, oh, this isn't nice, I would never wear this pink. Swap it out and use one of her other colors. overall, I have no regrets about getting this palette. I am very, very, very happy with it. And I am so happy with it that I decided to do another giveaway. And honestly, at this point, I feel like Santa Claus, but I am feeling in a very generous mood. And so I decided to get an extra palette for hopefully one of you lucky people. I will be posting the details about how to enter this giveaway very soon on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on my Instagram already, then please do. All the details will be on the screen now. Just keep an eye out and I will announce it very soon on how to win this. I am very, very, very happy with this palette. Like I said, I will check in later to let you know how it lasted on my eyes. But I would love to know and hear from you what your thoughts are of this palette. Are you going to get it? Have you gotten it? And if you have, then what are your thoughts on it? And how does it fare to other eyeshadow palettes? For me, when I was applying it, it was very smooth, very creamy, very buttery feeling. I felt like even the mattes are easy to apply with your fingers. So for me, I really like this palette, but I would love to know your opinions down below. I will check in again later. Please excuse my close-up and also my very shiny and greasy face. I haven't powdered it just because I've been at home. I wanted to just give you an update and close-up. Hasn't lasted that well. As you can see, it's slightly, it's pretty creased from where I applied it, and there's a little bit of smudging. Now, I feel like if I had just put a primer on, it would last way better than this. But I did want to show you how it fared on its own. And now it could just be because I've got greasier or oilier lids. So maybe if some of you have drier lids, it'll be okay. But on my lid, it hasn't done well at all. So excuse the close-up, excuse the PJs and the shiny face. Like I said, just wanted to do a check-in and update. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching and see you guys on the next video.